All right, everybody. Episode 182 coming at you. Eric here in Orland Park, Kansas. Ped in Old Town, Liverpool. It's a Sunday. We're recording
Ooh,
special time. Thanks,
ooh.
Thanksgiving, and in the
As
U.S.
if,
on.
as if, who cares about Thanksgiving? There's a different kind of Thanksgiving on Thursday, Eric. A very-
Um, I think on Thursday we'll just be thankful if we have 11 players to play.
I'll just be thankful if I can see straight,
Why wouldn't you see straight?
because I'll be in Wolfsburg.
Yeah, I'll be in the middle of Nowheresburg. I don't even know if they know what soccer is there,
Hmm.
so not very thankful. We'll see if I'll
So,
be able to find the match. Thanksgiving USA on Thursday. I'll be traveling, so we are covering the West Ham match today. Look
mm,
ahead at the Wolfsburg and Spurs matches.
mhm.
Don't know if
It's a
there's
big
much to
deal.
look forward to.
Big deal, though, isn't it? It's a big deal, Thanksgiving. I don't know whether we appreciate in the UK or the rest of the world how big a deal Thanksgiving is.
For my family, it definitely is. It's where it's almost a bigger deal in my family than Christmas as far as size wise goes.
Mm,
A lot of people travel in from out of town, out of state, like we will, to go visit my grandmother and my aunts and uncles and cousins, and we'll all sit down and have dinner together. Um, and then Christmas for us is a little bit more kind of our nuclear
intimate,
family and instead
intimate.
of our, yeah, it's a little smaller, and that's just my family in particular. It's different for everybody, but with just the geography of the country, this
What's
seems
the
to work out
saying?
better for us.
What's the saying? You go home for Thanksgiving, but you stay home for Christmas. Is that the
It,
saying?
that would work. That would work. Why not?
Yeah.
It
If it isn't,
definitely
then I've just invented it, and I'm gonna put it on a card.
go home, stay home. Yeah. Well,
But
Everton was at home,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
they
and
were.
then
I
and
want.
they sent West Ham home crying.
They cry all the time. They're just
They were
crying
just a bunch of
bitches.
crybabies.
They're just
I
crying.
still don't understand how you can get pushed in the chest and get your eye poked out at the same time.
No, no, right. And we'll come to that as we talk more about this game. But
So an hour, yeah,
yeah, go on, keep
an
going.
hour before kickoff, lineup comes out, and we see what we were dreading last week with the speculation of Baines being out, and we're seeing um, Tony Hibbert at left back. Like
Mm.
what? We've already
Black
seen him
guy?
at right back. We've already seen him at right back, and he's been less than awesome.
Yeah,
So,
less than,
and
less than.
that's his
That's his
normal
position.
natural position. So
Yeah.
let's play someone that's less than awesome out of
Mm.
position.
Yeah, it's a strange one. I think what's strange about it is you've got a kid there in Luke Garbutt who he's obviously been waiting a long time for his chance. Um, you know, he's there. He played in the week for the England under 21s. Um, set the world on fire playing in that game. But you just think from Roberto Martinez's time at the club and everything he preaches and everything he says that you would just go and put him in there at left back. And he played against Swansea in the League Cup. He wasn't fantastic, but you just would have thought alongside someone like Distan, Jagielka, and Coleman, and having Tim Howard in goal, you just thought it would have just been the sensible idea. But obviously, Roberto Martinez has got to take in consideration the rest of the team. Now,
Right,
with
because
that,
playing in front of Hibbert is Kevin Morales' surprise boost of fitness. To see him get the start, everybody was speculating that he was going to be fit to play, but not necessarily to feature. And so to get him in the starting 11 was definitely a boost. But maybe that was one deciding factor in putting Hibbert in instead of Luke Garbutt, who was young and unexperienced. You get a seasoned veteran in there to play behind someone that absolutely demands going forward. So to keep um, there from being a vacuum there for West Ham to exploit. Maybe you have someone that's going to stay home and is going to be a little bit more reliable defensively.
Yeah, there is that as well. You've got Tony Hibbert, years of experience, and you have to look after that position, whether it's right-footed or left-footed. He ain't going forward, so that's no problem. Although ironically, he did sort of push inside and managed to get a shot off in the first half. But you're right. If there'd been 10 fit players, regular players, and it was only the one position, then maybe Luke Garbutt would have started. But under under what we had facing us, and you mentioned Morales coming back. We didn't have Gareth Barry,
Right.
who was in there. We're obviously missing, players.
We did magically have McCarthy back, so maybe Roy Keane's right. Maybe McCarthy just doesn't want to play for Ireland anymore.
It was their physio that said he would only be missing for a week, so can't blame us for that. But if you want to talk about players playing for Ireland, I mean, Gibson nowhere to be seen, obviously with the knee injury, and McGeady has come down with something and he's nowhere to be seen. So
yes, a bad dish of corned beef.
Yeah, Guinness. It's got the Guinness trots. So people can say what they want, but at the end of the day, with this team at the moment is having to use the full stretch of the squad. And you mentioned Morales there, and it's quite interesting when Roberto Martinez brings players back, he tends to bring them straight back into the team. He gets them up to a stage where they're completely ready to come back into the first team. He doesn't sort of just park them on the bench and.
Right, if you're fit, you're getting in. You're going in. You're definitely getting in.
Because his level of fitness is a high level. When he declares players fit, they're fit. They're not 90, 80, 60, 70. They are fit to go in the team.
Right, they're not 15 minutes fit. They're at least an hour fit. And I think it was always going to be an hour for Morales.
Yeah.
As we mentioned, McCarthy's back. Big boost. I think that was a bigger boost, that McCarthy being in the lineup, than Morales. Definitely saw that. But then we see Osman coming in for Barry.
Yeah, which I suppose was expected, because you look at the rest of the bench and there's not anyone. There's only Besic really. Besic could do it, but the problem is, if you put Besic in there, he
gets a yellow card in 10 minutes.
Yeah, then it's doomsday scenario. But what he doesn't do is he doesn't go and take the ball off the back four. And at the moment, there's no one in the back four, or certainly the two centre backs, that are capable of coming out with the ball.
Although there was a time when Jags was overlapping Lukaku.
Yeah, like an idiot. But there's no one, so you want someone in midfield who go and take the ball off the centre backs at times and bring the ball out. And even though it wasn't very prominent in this game, you still want that option. And I still think Besic is quite raw. And there's going to be, listen, we're going to get plenty out of Besic. Every time he's played, he looks like a good player. But I think, Roberto Martinez wants a level that fits in with the system of the team. And Osman, whatever anyone says about Osman, he comes in and he does a job. And wherever you ask him to play, he does the job. And whether it's further forward or tucked in, he'll always do a job for you, whether you like him or not. So he doesn't go hiding either. So, so most of the rest of the team I thought was fine. It's just, for me at the moment, it's a little bit about like, it's not are they playing, it's where they play, and that's the worry for me at the moment. It's just there's a lack of balance again, and I know, listen, of course there's a lack of balance when you've got so many players missing, but I also think there's a lack of balance in the side that's sort of being forced. I mean, I can't bang the drum enough for how much, I love Ross Barkley and the way he plays football. But at times when he's stuck out a little bit on the left-hand side, for me, he's not, or the right-hand side, or whatever, he's not really doing anything for anyone out there at times. And when he comes inside into his natural position, it leaves a big space in front of the fullbacks. So you're not really getting anything out of him. And
And that's the problem with having the Naismith Lukaku are very much both in the center, and then Barkley, who wants to be in the center, and I don't even know if he wants to be in the center of the pitch more than Morales. I don't think Morales likes to be out wide very much either.
no,
So
I don't think he does.
you've got the front four, most attacking players on the pitch are all wanting to be at the top of the 18.
But I think the difference is, I think Naismith will play out wide and will stick, and is disciplined enough to play the role and will do the job for you. Naismith, whatever you ask him to play, will do a job. And later on when we talk about the second goal, talk a little bit about that. But he will go out wide and he will just play that role. Whereas Barkley wants to play the number 10. He wants to play in there. And we're so much better when he plays in there. You only have to look at the Villa game. Arguably our best performance of the season when he was number 10. He controlled everything, and he makes Lukaku a better player. But also when he's in the middle of the park, it's more natural to him. He knows where to run, and he will offer you a defensive side of his game as well. But it's got to be when he's playing central. And I just think it just annoys me. It just annoys me a little bit that you're getting 75% out of one player and 75% out of another player, and you just think, well, swap them over and you'll get 100% in different ways. And
Right.
That just annoys me. It just annoys me a little bit. Yeah, I just don't think there's a balance.
Yeah, I just chalk it up to all the injuries. You saying the side being out of balance, and it's out of balance because it has to be, and so maybe this is just the best option at the moment. There was a lot of runs, a lot of quick interplay between everybody. It seemed like the ball was moving a lot faster yesterday than it had been in the past.
I think it had to.
Absolutely, but other than the back four giving it away towards the end of the first half and the beginning of the second half, way too much. Seemed like the midfield was doing a lot better of running off of the forwards, off of advanced players.
I think what happened a lot of the time, you just mentioned it, because we've got so many attacking players, they can only go one way, but when it breaks down, it does leave you in a little bit of trouble. We were lucky against West Ham. West Ham have been playing quite well. I mean, don't want to go over the top about them, but they've been playing quite well. But what we were lucky with is that obviously Andy Carroll and Cole started the game up front, and they just reverted back to type. They had Nolan in the middle of the park alongside Noble, and they just went back to type a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Going back to Hibbert, what I would say about Hibbert was, missed out before, is that they have very, very attacking fullbacks, West Ham. So I think having Hibbert in there was one of the reasons to try and stop them as well, because what their fullbacks wanted to do is get forward and just get crosses into Carroll
Sure.
at angles and make it difficult for us, and try and get Nolan has made a career off basically just looking for the knockdowns. So that's what they were all about. They changed the style, but they were very, very competitive in midfield, and they wanted to play. The confidence was up. They didn't come to Goodison and want to sit back for a point. They wanted to come for 3 points, and that probably helped us in large parts of the game, because it just opened up the game a little bit more.
Yeah, it allowed us to their pressure and their pressing us definitely forced us to play faster, and I think it finally started to click as far as some of these 1-2s. It's kind of like how Baines and Pinar have just this sixth sense about where everybody is, or where each other is. It seems to be working with some of the other players on the squad as well. Lukaku, sometimes his touch isn't the greatest, but I definitely think he's got a lot more creative since one Samuel Eto'o has joined the squad. Just looking to be more creative, and it's working.
It works sometimes, Eric. It works sometimes.
It's working sometimes. It's more than it not working ever.
Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and when it doesn't, it makes him look a little bit foolish. But
he's 21.
No,
and
no, I'm not.
you gotta try. You gotta try
Not having
stuff.
a go at him. Not having a go at him. I think what he's very good at is what we've seen against West Ham. When he gets the chance, he inevitably puts it away. That's Romelu Lukaku for you. When he's a poacher, really. Most of the time, he's just a poacher.
Yeah.
We ask him to get involved in a lot of the play outside the area, and sometimes that lets him down. But what he is a poacher, and if you give him a chance, he tends to put it away, and that's up to the rest of the team to create those chances for him.
Well,
So
break down our goal then. How did that come about?
break it down. Well, it was Ross Barkley, wasn't it? Being in
Yeah.
the centre of the park. Ross Barkley being right outside the area, being in the position where I just want to see him. It's where I want him to be all the time. I want this kid to just be sitting on that edge of the box and being the link player for Romelu Lukaku, being a real number 10, because he is a real number 10. I can't stress this enough. Naismith isn't a real number 10. Naismith's loved the bones of him. You know, he's transformed in a player, but he's not a real number 10. This kid is, and his first touch, the way he brings that ball down and moves, shifts it, is absolutely immaculate. Now, he gets a shot off. Obviously, it's massively deflected, and falls into the path of Romelu Lukaku, who puts it away. Now, obviously, there's a lot of controversy about this goal.
I don't think there's any controversy because it's
Come on then.
obvious that
Come on then.
he is offside whenever the shot is taken.
He is offside. He is offside.
What I don't get, and I know that there's the back pass rule. I would love to see that extended to deflections, because if there's a deflection, I'm saying it might as well be fair game at that point. If it's touched by the defense in any way, shape, or form, I would love to see offside be reset at that point.
Well, it was. Basically,
Exactly.
wasn't it?
So
It basically
I
was.
think the linesman got it right, as far as I'm concerned.
I completely disagree with you. I tell you why, right? And I know what you're saying. You're looking at. I hate this offside rule. I hate this phase 2 nonsense. I am all for the way the offside rule's being expanded. I mean, in the old days, and
If you're off, you're off. Even if you were sitting on the
if you
sideline
were on the other side of the pitch, like literally on the other side, if you were off, you were off. And they were the bad old days of football. We've got a much better system now, but they've took it on to one step further, and I don't like it, because I can't remember
just get rid of it.
I can't remember who I watched a couple of weeks ago, but I think it was probably Liverpool. But the ball went wide. The ball went wide, and when the ball went wide, it was LA Galaxy as well. Robbie Keane scored. Done exactly the same thing. The ball went wide, and when the ball went wide, Robbie Keane was completely offside. Completely offside. Now, what he does is, when the ball comes across, he just jogs 2 yards backwards to the line, and then he's in. But he's literally just putting a tap in. And I can't understand how that can be allowed, because if you're a defender, you work so hard on setting up offside traps, and then players can distort it by something that is not their fault. Okay, the original guy crossing the ball might be onside, but if the guy in the box is offside, he's getting an unfair advantage, because he was offside. He's gaining an advantage in the first place. So the one yesterday was a little bit similar. It was Lukaku was offside when the ball was shot. So that is effective. That is effectively when Ross Barkley is passing the ball. Okay, it takes a deflection, but he's offside. And if it happened to us, we would go mental over it. And that's the way I always look at things. If things happen to you, and it's the same with Ross Barkley's dive.
I guess, yeah. The dot. Well, let's get into that. But let's stay on the offsides for just one second because I want to equate it to the. You said that was the moment when Ross Barkley essentially passed it to Lukaku, and I call bull on that because if it was a back pass to the keeper, would he have been able to pick it up instead of Lukaku shooting it? If that was a defensive player who brings it down and it gets deflected. It's not a direct back pass. The keeper can pick it up and use his hands. So
Yeah, but they're
it's
two
not a
different
pass.
things, though, aren't they? The two different things. No, it's not a pass.
So
But
so the moment that Ross shoots it, he is giving up possession of the ball.
so what if Ross Barkley had shot, right? It was a
Yeah.
shot.
hmm
It didn't touch anybody, and it found its way to Romelu Lukaku in an offside position. But Ross Barkley didn't mean to pass to him.
If it hits the post, if it
Yeah, if it hits
hits,
the post,
if
he's
the keeper
offside.
if the keeper
No,
saves
no,
it,
no. If it hits the post, he's
hmm
offside. So therefore, it's the same for me. I feel it's the same, and it's not about a pass. Listen, the wording is not pass. It's when the ball goes forward.
it's
It's
what you
not.
said.
It's not a pass. It's when the
Okay.
ball goes forward. You've got. It's all
Just
about
devil's
the
advocate
wording.
here. Just
No, no,
devil's advocate here.
I know, but you're wrong. No, listen, I'm all for the way the offside rule has been expanded in the last 20 years. It's made such a big difference to football. It's made it
I say
faster.
just get rid of it. It's impossible to
You know,
to get right.
if they got rid of offside, football would be the worst sport in the world. It would, and it
It'd be
would.
basketball.
There'd be less go. No, there'd be less goals. There'd be less goals in football if there was no offside. There'd be less goals. I guarantee that there'd be less goals because you just couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. But no, I don't like that offside rule where a player can get himself back onside because what it effectively says to the centre back is you have to defend from your goal line, and that's not right, is it? Really, that's not right. If you're offside, you're offside. I mean, in that kind of position, if you're gaining an advantage, whether it be second phase, I'm not into that. So listen, Romelu Lukaku was offside.
Yep.
We got a big break, and
Woohoo.
we deserved one. We haven't had one for a while, but just as I was saying, then Ross Barkley, that dive, Jesus.
I'm surprised Nolan didn't get a yellow card for dissent after that dive because it was bad. So you have seen a replay of it.
Yeah.
I asked you after the match if you had seen it, how bad, and your position from Gladys Streets to that was in line probably with Clattenburg.
But you just can't
And
you can't see it three-dimensionally.
yeah,
You just can't see it.
but a reverse angle from a camera and it's very bad.
It's bad. It's bad. It's
Very
really
bad.
bad. And Ross knows it's bad straight away. He's embarrassed because he just goes over. I don't know whether he was expecting it, but I'm not one of those people.
And that's a lot of it is that players are expecting the contact.
But I
And
don't like that though. I'm not someone who advocates
right.
that though. I'm not. If
the,
you
the
get
force of the contact,
fouled,
the force of contact sometimes anymore, as we saw with Gareth Barry last week, and some of the other challenges that we saw this week, it's just it's hard, and so to kind of protect yourself, you try to soften the contact.
Yeah, I understand that, and that's not an issue. That's not an issue. If you don't want to go into, if you want to get out the way, you get out the way. There was one yesterday in the Manchester United Arsenal game where, surprise, it was actually what's his name?
Exactly.
Yeah, and the guy came in, the Arsenal player came in, full steam ahead, and there was no contact, and he dived like he does it when he gets in the box, and it was a clear dive, and someone said to me, well, no, he was just trying to get out the way of the contact. And
Are you talking about
get
Maria or Van Persie or?
No, it was actually Thingo. That's what I'm saying to you.
Yeah.
I can't think of a second name.
Okay.
And it was a blatant dive. And do you know what I mean? If you want to get fouled, you get out. You get fouled. You get out the way. You don't throw yourself on the floor like you have been fouled. That's the difference.
Right.
So a little bit embarrassed by
But
what he did. It was quite embarrassing, and he knows that that's not something that we want at the club, and I'm sure Roberto Manes would have said it's something to him. Ashley Young it was. That's who, I couldn't think of the second name.
I said Young like 3 times, dude.
You didn't.
No, I did. What, Young?
Dead Van Persie, Di Maria.
And then you said no. Actually, I can't think of his second name. I'm like,
it's not Ferris Bueller.
oh, anyways, poor Ross rolling on
Bad
the carpet.
dive. Get on with it, but bad dive. And what it does, it gets him targeted on TV, and the next minute he's diving. We don't.
Was the Ross's dive worse than Hibbert's shot though?
Equally as bad.
Bad.
What I would say is neither of them should just try it ever. So yeah, 1-0 up at half time, doing okay. It was a real battle. As you mentioned before, we were giving the ball away left, right, and centre. We couldn't keep the ball. We couldn't keep possession. We just kept on giving it away and away and away. And they were pretty strong in midfield, and but they were just generally trying to do the same tactic. Fullbacks, getting the fullbacks as high as they can, and putting crosses in. And luckily enough, they've got really crap centre forwards.
Yeah, but I do want to mention that I thought that Howard did a lot better on some of the high balls than we have seen him in the past. Catching the ball a lot more than he has previously instead of punching it. There's a couple times where Andy Carroll's just a big man, and it's really hard to get around him sometimes to get some of the balls. I thought that he did about as good as he could on some of those crosses, coming out, taking control, making sure that the center halves knew what he was intending. So a lot more organized as far as defending crosses for me today.
Yeah, he had to be. Yeah, you're right. He had to be. He was.
Right. But in the past, we haven't been very great at it, and they could have taken advantage of it. And I thought that they did a lot better organized as far as defending those crosses.
No, I thought. Yeah, I think I said I tweeted you on the match saying it was a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde performance from him because he was coming for things. He wasn't always getting it, but he was coming for things. So and he made a decent save towards the end. So yeah, you have to be a lot bigger and stronger. When you're playing, when people are whipping in crosses like that, you really have to stand up for yourself against these teams, or they'll bully you, because that's what they were trying to do. They were trying to bully us all through the game. With their snide tactics and people saying
just is clueless.
Well, we'll talk about Clattenburg in a moment. Got a couple of things to say about him, but so
1-0 at halftime. A lucky break for us. Linesman falling asleep, letting Lukaku get in there, and great finish for him. Well done. But then second half starts, and we're under pressure immediately.
Yeah, we were. It was interesting, but it was interesting that they made a couple of quick substitutions as well, almost like
double change on the 50th minute.
Noble was injured, I think, but he obviously made the decision to give Cole maybe 5 minutes to see what the effect was.
Right.
And again, there was nothing. It was again, they were very strong in midfield, and they were overpowering us just physically, but they're just getting the ball wide. But we were doing very well. So I think by bringing Zarate on, they were looking for something different. They were looking at a player around the hole to move the ball a little bit and try and get the ball moving a little bit in static areas, and it worked. And it worked quite quickly. Within 5 minutes. So there was a lot of fortune for the goal itself, but the build-up was good football. And to be fair, they did deserve it for the way they ended the first half and the way they started the second half. So couldn't really see any arguments in that. You could almost see it coming, to be honest.
Yeah, and then just dribbling the ball across the middle like that. It's just you're trying to figure out who's going to step out to block the shot to keep him from getting it off. And unfortunately, it's at Jags, and he I don't know if he tried to get out of the way or what but he was just kind of frozen there. It hits his foot and loops over Howard, and it's another deflected shot that goes in at an inopportune time for Everton, and it's 1-1. It's just kind of like, yep, that was always going to happen.
It did feel like it was coming, to be honest. I thought, as I said, I thought they finished the half really strong and started the second half well. So, fair play to them. They're sort of trying to play a bit more football. We didn't see a lot of it in this game, but they did try and change it and make it a little bit more football inside in the second half. And I was a bit worried then because once they got 1-1, I thought, I don't know, I can't really see what we're going to do here to change this
Right.
because, they were playing well, and as I say, not only were they playing well, I'm gonna say they weren't like dominating us, not by any means, but they were physically strong, and the game plan was set. It was to win the ball in midfield, get it wide, and then try and either get crosses in or work it into the box. And obviously with players like we've mentioned who they've got, that can be very, very dangerous. But Roberto Martinez, he reacted. He took Morelos off, who obviously had the little flashpoint himself.
Little pink mist going on there, yeah.
Which, you know what, I didn't really, the tackle wasn't great. It wasn't great. It was a foul, but then Tompkins pushes him, so he just pushes him back, and then Tompkins does something so
Fakes a
embarrassing.
head wound.
Oh my God, as embarrassing as what Barkley did.
Yeah.
Holding your face, and the way Naismith just like sort of pointed and laughed at him was absolutely
Well,
genius.
it's one thing if you do that like all the way on the other side of the pitch, away from the referee, away from the ball, like there's like nobody watching you, and you do that. But he's what 5 yards from the fourth official. He's 5 yards from the fourth official. He's 3 yards from Clattenburg. The lino's staring at him. Both managers are looking right at it. It's not like you're out of the spotlight. You're you're not going to get away with anything there because there's about 8,000 different pairs of eyes staring at you, and it just everybody sees it.
It was
It's just bad.
it was ridiculous. It was an absolutely appalling. Uh, to hold your face when a professional's pushed. So he did not only did he hold his face, but he went down
Yeah,
like being struck, just
like a sack of potatoes. Yeah.
trying to get one of your fellow professionals sent off. Purely embarrassing. But as we mentioned, Morales goes off, and then Etu comes on, and that really changed the way we played and the way we held on to the ball, which we craved so much. We just didn't hold on to the ball enough in midfield. Whether that was because there was no Barry in there, but we just couldn't keep hold of that ball.
Yeah, there was one pass in particular outside of the goal, which we'll get into in a little bit, that I remember from Eto, and he's kind of in a paper bag, and he's got three West Ham players around him, and he just flicks the ball up out wide to Coleman. Coleman takes it down on his chest and gets it going forward. It's just that I don't know anybody else on the Everton side that can pick that pass that he did. And it's amazing that he's doing it for us. And we'll talk about it every single time Eto gets on the pitch for us and he does something wonderful. And it's just he's a different level of player than what we are used to seeing lately.
He's just a little genius, and
Exactly.
the way he creates space for himself is just magnificent. The way
Yeah, he'll have the ball, he'll spin around 3 times, and all of a sudden he's wide open.
he doesn't even have to do that though. Sometimes he just shuffles his feet, and the defender backs off, and it gives him 2 yards, and within the time frame he's done that, and the fact that he's got 2 yards, it creates space for other players to move. He's so effective of doing it, but he's just a genius player, and these little cameos and the games he starts are just magnificent. I mean, talking about the third goal, the third goal
Our
in the game.
second goal, yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
we're going to
You
talk.
just,
I know, but I just want to mention very first, right? Naismith, Stephen Naismith on the edge of the box. Go back and watch this goal and
mhm.
watch what he does. And this proves the lad can play anywhere. He's on the edge of the box. We've just, I think it was either a corner or a set piece, and and he's so calm and so cool outside the area. He just shifts the ball one way and then to the other, and he gets us going. And Lukaku's going full pelt, and suddenly we have got them, 3-on-3 or 3-on-2, whatever it is. He's taken out obviously by Collins.
How he stays on the pitch.
Well, this is something I'll mention in a minute when we just.
And our weekly refereeing critique segment.
I'll just mention that, yeah. But Etu is just bursting a gut to get forward. And you know what? When we signed this player, a lot of people didn't think you'd see this kind of thing from Etu. A lot of people probably thought that he was just someone who just
mailing it in,
moves around in a little circle. But he is going full pelt, and the way he smashed that ball across the box, and the fact that he's got another 30-something playing his 400th appearance for Everton, going down the other side. Magnificent to watch that. Magnificent to see.
Awesome.
Two players based in a gut. One with so much class to find the other one. One with such class to finish the goal off. Fantastic goal, and it was one of them goals. It was one of them, like real moments when you love being in the Gladys Street when the whole place just shakes. It was like that because we'd been under the cosh and you could see how it was turning into such a battle, and we stood up to them. We started to stand up to them, and obviously little things like what Morelos did, and obviously McCarthy's tackle in the first half as well. Yep. Things like that, they get you up for it as a fan as well, and you want to see stuff like that. It can turn very dull games into something else, and it really got us going. And it was like, because when we got 1-1, I thought, oh, we might just fall to bits here, but we didn't. We dragged ourselves through it, and it's people like Osman. People talk about Osman and they say things about him, but you know what? He's always there. He's always up for the fight. He's always getting in people's faces. He's a nasty little so-and-so when he wants to be. It was fantastic to see him finish that off. It was just brilliant goal. Absolutely brilliant goal.
Yeah, and then later on, this interplay between Eto'o and pretty much anybody and everybody else in the squad almost sees him net for our third.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant play between him and Osman. It was so unfortunate that he didn't score. That would have been a beautiful goal. That a great little bit of interplay. Just
off of a corner, right?
And yeah. Great little short corner.
Yeah. Man, that would have been just absolute class. The way that they worked the ball and got around each other and kind of almost made West Ham defense fall asleep there. Eto'o putting that in would have been just. It would have been another example of his class, and unfortunately he didn't finish it. It goes wide.
It just hit him on his heel. But do you know what? It's funny because again it's about Osman, but Osman's always been a great little technical player, and you just think sometimes when you look at other clubs and you look at really talented clubs, and you just think. You see a player. I know sometimes you take a good player out of a good team and suddenly they're not the same player. You just wonder sometimes maybe if Osman had played with better players at a different club, you know what I mean? Who knows? I mean, he might have fitted in a little bit better. But listen, the last 10 minutes we were fantastic. We stood up to everything they had to throw at us. Besic came on for Barkley, which was probably the right move as well. We stood up to them. And they really just become one-trick ponies, just trying to cross the ball into the box and getting Carroll on the end of it. And it just didn't work. And the only negative was obviously Naismith getting the injury in the last minute.
Yeah. Well, that wasn't the only negative because Clattenburg definitely was not a positive.
Right, well, you've got to, I suppose...
Just do it.
It's the scale, though, isn't it? I suppose. It's the scale. Right, okay. let's go back to that second goal. Fantastic advantage played by him.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
but if he whistles that, he is not getting out of Goodison Park alive. He will be murdered.
Right. Okay. Please don't say murdered. Right. But you just said how did Collins get away with it? Right. But
right.
You couldn't have played advantage. You can't play advantage and then send someone off. You can't do that. You're not allowed to do that. So it was either no, you can't do that. You can't allow someone to be on the pitch when they're what would have happened if he played advantage? The ball gets to the other end. Collins saves it on the line somehow, and then he gets sent off. You can't have it. You just can't do that. So suppose one or the other, he was either going to play advantage, which luckily enough worked, or you stop the game and maybe have to send them off. So it's one or the other. Listen, Clattenburg is not a fan. I'm not a fan of Clattenburg. No one is. Do you know what I don't get about? Do you know what I don't get about him? Right, and this was what I'm not going to go into because I can't be bothered going too much into it. I don't want to have a go at him because we won the game. But every time something kicked off yesterday in the game, he just stands back and he reminded me of an ice hockey referee.
Mm-hmm.
You know when you like the referee stand back and let the players throw.
Yeah, it's fisticuffs, it's handbags, and it's I've got a front row seat. This is awesome.
And then I'll put them in the sin bin. And
right.
That's what I couldn't understand yesterday. There was a few obviously there's the two big flashpoints where he just literally walked to the back, and just waited for it to all calm down. And you're thinking, well, that's okay, you doing that. But what happens if something bad happens in the flashpoints at the time? I can't understand that kind of refereeing. You don't allow players to referee a game. You referee a game. You get in there and you be a man and you stop fights. That's what you're supposed to do. I still don't know what he booked James McCarthy for.
For taking the ball out of bounds, I think.
I don't understand why he booked him. I put it on Twitter yesterday, and all I got back was this terrible tackle. Well, it wasn't a foul.
No, he incidentally stepped on his foot in a 50-50 ball where both players went in studs up.
It wasn't the prettiest of challenges, let's be honest. It wasn't the prettiest of challenges. But he gets the ball, and as you just said, it's a 50-50. It's a coming together. There's always going to be a
winner and a loser.
Yeah.
You don't tie in a 50-50 challenge. Someone wins and someone loses.
And James McCarthy doesn't lose them. He doesn't lose them, and he's wholehearted. And that's what I just couldn't understand about Clattenburg. He just stands back and lets. And this is the problem, because obviously we've had previous with him before. And the previous was because he allowed Gerrard and Carragher to referee our games. And you've seen it yesterday. He just stands back. And he reminded me of Henry Winkler in The Waterboy, where he just wants to go into the crowd.
Like Howard Simpson going back into the hedgerow, just hiding.
Homer, So, but listen, on the weight of scales, he evened it out with that decision, I suppose. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Because, like I said, it would have been not good days if he whistled for that. Because, as you mentioned, Eto'o was on his horse. He was getting to that ball no matter what, and to be able to get his head up and pick out Osman like that was amazing. And I imagine Gladys Streets was nuts. And we got 3 points against a team that is above us in the table, still above us in the table. It's early days, kind of. But
that table, that table is all over the shop.
You got robot going on.
Okay.
Early days, kind of, but season.
That table. Sunny days, everything's okay. Tottenham still getting beat 1-0, but Hull are down to 10 men.
Oh yeah.
Won't you tell me how to get
Can we make the next segment very, very short? We've already been 43 minutes on this.
Yeah. Listen. Let's just talk about what their record is at the moment. Players, and then just say next week. It's always you know. Let's see what happens. Yeah.
I didn't understand any of that, but that's good.
Won't you tell me how to get to Sesame Street?
You could have just explained Interstellar to me, and I wouldn't understand it.
I will explain Interstellar.
I think you already have.
I'm going to get the book, The Science of Interstellar.
Yeah.
Definitely. By Kip Thorne. I think you should too, Eric. And then we can understand it together.
Is that where they got the name for Dr. Man's robot? Kips.
Kip, it might be, yeah. He's the science dude.
Mm-hmm.
He's British, because all the cleverest people are British.
Mm.
But also the
Hey, you're on Robotnik, so that's good. Let's do this.
Also the sneakiest people are British.
Still above us in the table. It's Right, I'll start with that.
Okay.
All right, yeah, they're still above us in the tables. It's early in the season. Is it early in the season still, Ped? I mean, we're 12 games in. It's not really that early anymore.
It's not about being early, Eric. It's just about the state of the league. Listen, Crystal Palace beat Liverpool and are now 2 points behind Liverpool. Crystal Palace were in the relegation zone. This is what the league. Yeah, this is what the league is. It's mental. Liverpool are 5 points behind. Manchester United are fourth. That's how mental the league is at the moment.
We're 2 points back of fourth.
Yeah, there's the team at the top, and there's everyone else, literally everyone else, because Burnley have just won 2 on the spin, so they're moving on up now. It's just
Newcastle 5 in a row. They're
in fifth place. With West Ham and Swansea.
That's 15 quick points. They went from 4 points to 19 points.
Yeah.
In 5 matches.
West Ham, Swansea, Arsenal all lose, so we're catching them up.
Yeah.
Stoke below us.
How big are the 3 points? How big were these 3 points this week?
Huge 3 points. They're huge. We've got to. This is it now. We can. What I loved about that game was we won the game in circumstances that were really tough. Didn't have our best team out. Didn't play brilliantly well. Playing a team in form, and we won it. And that's what we're going to have to do. That's what we said on the last show. Got to start picking up 3 points, whether you deserve to win it or you don't deserve to win it, or you play well or you don't play well. That's how we've got to start picking up 3 points and getting us up on the table. And at the end of the day, if we're still bobbing around, forget about places. If we're still bobbing around a couple of points off the top 4 come the turn of the year, then listen, it's up for grabs.
Yeah, because we are 9th. But we are 2 points back of 4th. It's after 12 matches. That's how tight it is. Yeah. It's wild, very wild. 3 points. We'll take a break. We'll be right back.
How to get to Sesame Street?
I think you just turn your TV on.
Sunny day, everything's A-okay.
All right, ready? Let's get this last bit going.
Yeah.
All right, here we go.
For sure.
All right, we're back on Follow Tonians, brought to you by Abscess Services. And this week, and up until Christmas, as you've just heard, the Cooperton Books, they like us. We like them. They put out a lot of really great things for Everton fans to read. So check out them and get your fellow Blue a present for Christmas.
And we've got a really good competition coming up with them very, very soon.
Ooh.
Top top competition. The prize is something, something really nice and really important.
Like one of every of their books they've put out ever.
Oh, you are like a champion salesman, Eric.
Hmm. That'd be awesome. I I have most of them, and they are all great.
I'm not paying us enough. Keep going.
Huh?
I said they're not paying us enough. Come on, keep going.
Oh well, should we talk about Wolfsburg now?
Let's talk about Wolfsburg.
Because we have to go to Wolfsburg.
No.
You get to go to Wolfsburg.
I'm going to Wolfsburg.
Oh yeah. So
That's
that is awesome. Everything is awesome when you're going to Germany.
Yes, it is. This.
I think that's how the lyrics go on that.
Das ist true, Eric.
Yeah. So who's gonna play?
I don't know.
Right.
I tweeted a couple of weeks ago that and it was joking that it was going to be like the team that played Benfica those few years back, and anyone who remembers that will know that was like the worst team ever. It was like Coleman made his debut at left back. It was ridiculously, it was just unbelievable. I don't know. It's going to be really, really tough. I mean, Wolfsburg have been in fine form recently. They've just come off the back of winning 7 straight games in the Bundesliga. They did lose at the weekend 3-2 to Schalke, and obviously have won a couple of Europa League games in there as well. So I think they had won 9 in a row. So, they're second at the moment in
the Bundesliga. Yep.
Yeah. Sorry, eight games in a row. Sorry, altogether. Sorry, including the 2 games against Krasnodar. They hadn't lost. They hadn't lost. They hadn't lost in 10.
Yeah.
So they hadn't lost in 10. So they've been, fantastic form. The second at the moment in the Bundesliga as well. They're going really, really well. They've started. They've literally found the form since we beat them. Funny enough.
Yeah.
Before that, they'd been beaten by Bayern Munich, and I think they'd drawn the 3 games before that. But ever since, they've just gone on and got better and better and better, and they're scoring a lot of goals as well. So it's going to be a very, very tough game, and obviously it's going to be made even harder because of the players we've got missing.
Yeah, definitely. Going to be a thin squad unless there's some injury boosts that we don't know are going to happen between now and then. 2 matches left in the Europa League group stages. This is for all the marbles, pretty much. I think that if we get a result, then we're good to win the group. If we lose, then we're going to have to require Lille to beat Wolfsburg on the last day.
I'm actually confident that even if we get beat, we can still win the group. I think Lille could take something off them. I genuinely do. I think Lille have been quite consistent at.
Yeah, but for all intents and purposes, though, if Wolfsburg beat us, then Lille are eliminated.
Yeah, but I still think that I fully understand that. I suppose it comes down to what team Lille would play against them. And Lille have been on a bad run of form themselves. I mean, I know that's long, a few weeks off when that game's getting played, but I still think that if we got beat, we could still maybe win the group. I think we can comfortably beat Krasnodar on the last game. So I still think we can win the group. I know it would all seem like it would come down to this game, but I'm still confident we can still do it. But if we don't, we don't. If we go to Krasnodar, if we go to Wolfsburg, and we are, on the, if we're on the bones of our backsides because of the squad we've got, so be it. You know what? That's the way it is, isn't it? What can you do? As I say, Wolfsburg on a great run. They'll be home. What can you do? The manager's got a game against Spurs 3 days later. He's going to have to make decisions. If he's only got a threadbare squad, he's got to look at who will be available for both games and who we can move around. And if it happens that Wolfsburg beat us, then that's life, isn't it? We should still get out the group. We will still get out the group. So
We'd have to lose both of our games to, and Lille would have to win both of their games for them to leapfrog us for third. That's about the only way that that's going to happen.
exactly. So, and as you just mentioned, if Wolfsburg did beat us and Lille beat Krasnodar, then they may feel like they've still got a sniff to get through. So maybe they will be going for it in that last game against Wolfsburg. So listen, it's going to be what it's got to be. You can't expect Roberto Martinez to pick players who are not fit or risk.
How about we just go into Wolfsburg and beat them, win the group right then, and then it's easy sailing. Against Krasnodar, we don't have to worry about it.
That would be a joy.
Yeah, because we win at Wolfsburg. We're 4 points with 1 match left. Sounds good to me.
That'll do. Let's just go there and win.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Another place we have to go and just win is on the weekend down to White Hart Lane and Spurs, who are very much confusing this year as far as matches after their Europa League ties. They have been pretty horrible.
I don't think they're confusing. I just don't think they're very good.
Okay. Well, that's good.
Simple as that. I just don't think that they're that good a team. I just think, yes, they've always struggled after Europa League games. They've got a big problem behind. Since when they play Europa League games, it's strange. They played the last one. They got beat by Stoke at home. Before that, they got beat by Newcastle at home, even though they played at home as well on the 2 home games in a row. So yeah, they're a strange start. I mean,
Newcastle wasn't very good.
Yeah, they've beaten Southampton at home this season after they played in the Europa League. So it hasn't been all bad for them. They got beat by Liverpool 3-0 as well when they played Limassol earlier on. So they've got a history of being pretty poor after they've played in the Europa League. So that's up to us to do something about that. But that'll be weird because we'll have both played in it, and obviously they're at home again. But they've been very fortunate. They seem to play a home and then play a home again straight after. So they've been very fortunate with the way games have happened this season for them. So
yeah, we're away and then away again.
Yeah. So, which I suppose is the same thing, but they're getting beat at home after all the games. But so I suppose it's just going to be one of those games. We'll both have something to moan about, I suppose. But
always something to moan about.
I think it's a bit early in the week to start to really get in depth in this game. But hopefully we'll have the likes of Baines back, maybe Gibson back. Obviously, we don't know how long Barry's out for. That's still not
the extent of Naismith now.
Yeah. So we're not really sure about that at the moment. So it's a little bit early in the week to start speculating about that. So once we get through the game against Wolfsburg, we'll have a little bit more of a better knowledge about who's available and who's not available.
I don't think it matters because we've got Samuel Eto'o. All right, everybody. I think that's about it for this week. We'll talk to you later. Come on, you Blues, let's go.
Happy Thanksgiving!
Nice.